Hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Nectar show that talks about all things essence, where we gather around the campfire and we share our stories of connection to that which is bigger than us, to the great spirit, the divine, the soul, presence, light, consciousness, whatever your word for that is. And we gather around the campfire and we share our stories of that which is bigger than us and our mystical moments and our ahas and all of those beautiful things that we can share together and be in awe, just to be in awe of the majesty of it all. I'm your host, Carrie Hummingbird. I love to have these conversations. It's just so fulfilling for me to not only have my own journey, but then also to, really share out the journeys of others and to participate and engage in that conversation. And all the little conversations that come from the conversation is also really delightful. So I love to be in service that way. Now, today I have a really special guest who I am really excited to get to know her story. This woman was referred to me by Gabriella Masala. If you remember the episode we did with Gabriella at the beginning of the year, who I just love her big, beautiful heart. And she referred me to Madi Sato. Welcome, Madi, to the program.
Good morning to you, Carrie, and thank you for having me on the show. And I love how the sisterhood weaving is always happening, and we, don't know sometimes when things are going to show up in our lives, but the sisterhood movement is saying yes. This is the movement of the feminine with an open receptiveness that is very much needed right now. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And you actually work with women in sisterhood to birth a new tradition of song carriers, which I'm so intrigued by because I do feel it's so important for women to lift their voices at this time, and for all of us really. But I feel like I'm in the track of let's help women. So, and you're also from Santa Fe, which I love, and because I'm about to come out there for a special ceremony myself. So let's talk about your journey. How did you step into this capacity of being, a fabric, a community builder for the song carriers? How did you step into that?
I think the feminine within me stepped into the saying yes to sister after sister showing up and saying, Madi, you're a singer, get us all singing, and, from my background of being raised in Cherokee way, even though that's not my blood lineage, it's my spiritual lineage. And, really going back to the ancestors on that spiritual path and asking, how do I bring women into the voice in a way that's going to serve the ecology, serve the community and the future generation? So it's always been an ongoing question and a listening. And this song carriers community feels like, you mentioned tradition, it's like a birthing of a tradition where women are coming together in a prayerful way around a water and fire altar, and we're singing songs from all around the world in the mother tongues, the original languages that sprouted up through humanity from listening and in deep relations with the mother. And so what's happening is when we sing these ancestral songs, we are being taught by the ancestors in a way in how to be in right relations, in a co-creative experience with all of the forces, the mysterious forces of life. And we make of ourselves, each time we gather, we're in our 11th year. And each time we gather, we make of our voices, our songs, our dance, the ritual offerings as an offering to the earth, for the benefit of the waters, for the benefit of the ancestors and the future generations. And it is an inclusive, feminine, sort of ceremonial, prayerful space of gathering that we've heard that when we place those original altars of water and fire in the center, those altars belong to all people, going way back to the beginning of humanity. And it allows for many cultures, many backgrounds of women to come together and put our hearts together as one in a prayer. And when we sing, you know, that prayer is potentized with those vibrations of the ancestors, and then ignited and activated with the stepping that we're doing in the dance. So we dance and we weave together our sisterhood way, hearts, and we make what is almost looks like a beautiful matrix of prayer over that water and fire altar. And not only do we work with ancestral songs, but there is the past, I would say, 4 or 5 years, new songs of the earth are coming through the sisterhood, and they're becoming, they are beings, and we tend to them and we caretake them until they are of the potency to go on their own and be shared with other communities. So Santa Fe is where our mother home well and fireplace have existed for the past 11 years. And now we have branches to Austin, Texas song carriers, guided by Gabriela Masala and Kate Lindsay. And then we also have another sisterhood song carrier community in Tucson, Arizona, guided by Jane Inman and Devorah Scipione.
Gosh, that's so gorgeous. You know, I'm kind of tearing up a little bit because you said something that touched my heart, is that you've been trained, you've been some education with Cherokee ways, and I'm part Cherokee, and I have been on this quest to reunite with my ancestors through the division caused from the Trail of Tears. And part of that division is what led me to be reconnected with my ancestor, who was a White Eagle peace chief. So I have been reassimilating and reconnecting that within my own framework, and then trying to listen and learn. And to help me, my ancestors led me to, you know, the Four Winds Society and Alberto Vialdo, and studying with the Caro shaman, because the Caro people are a people of fire, like the Cherokee people of fire. And so I was led to study with them because I didn't have this third dimensional connection here for me. So it's interesting. I think we're being led to, if I'm just hearing you correctly, who we need to be led to by our ancestors to give us what we need to activate within us what's being born. And I love this, you know, the song is so powerful. Talk about, for those of you who, people in the audience who haven't really understood about song or know that it's, tell us more about the song. Like, it's more than just singing a little ditty, you know, like there's something very profound when you're singing an ancient song.
Well, the origins of the human gift of song were for praising, for grieving, for marking the seasons, for expressing gratitude, and for petitioning for healing and guidance. Song is prayer in its origins. And there wasn't a human being on the planet that was told you cannot pray. And you know, there's the saying that when you sing, you pray twice. It really is. It goes directly to the heart. And I have to say, when you sing in your ancestral tongues, and particularly in the beginning, your own ancestral lineage, there is a memory that comes in a very direct and fast way, that you could go and study the language for 10 years and still not fully grasp. But when you lift up a song in the original tongue, the mother tongue, a memory and a knowing and an sort of an archive to the ancestral wisdom is there before you. And it's a very powerful thing. And I want to honor that I want to speak, my ancestry is the Ainu, indigenous Japanese people on my father's side. And they are the caretakers, the women of the sacred fire and the water and the whole village. And my mother's side is Celtic background of Ireland, Finland, and I found out even a little Italian in there. And what we have been experiencing in community is going back and singing your ancestral songs allows you then to sing songs from wherever you are rooted, physically, land, connected. And so we also sing songs that are birthed from Turtle Island here and from the First Nations. And this has been a process, Carrie, of prayer and asking for blessing from the ancestors and the people who have been caretakers of this land before we even got here. Many of us are adopted sons and daughters, but yet our roots of our being are being fed by this land. And it's so important, I feel, to also honor and sing the songs of this land in a very thoughtful, integrous way by going to source of various lineage of songs and asking which songs can be shared with all people. As we know, there are songs that it's almost dangerous in a way to take a song from a specific ceremony and sing it outside of that ceremony. So over these 11 years, we have collected and we have a seed bank of songs that have been blessed by elders and been given permission for all women to sing. And it has strengthened our community. And that's why I believe this work is growing and continuing, is because we're not just saying, let's get together and you know a song and not knowing the history and the beingness where the song has been before us and honoring it has allowed us to come together week after week, year after year. And now what's the most beautiful gift is that when these women go out, they might have only been with the community for a season or 10 years. They have food for the earth in the form of song and prayer. And when you're by a river, you know, the ancient wisdom of making offerings through cornmeal, through tobacco, song is an offering. And that's a way to express your gratitude and enliven the life force of the whole universe. So it's been a huge gift and a huge learning.
That's really powerful. You know, I had one experience similar that where I started to understand that is I went on a sacred pilgrimage to Ausangate in Peru to the Holy Mountain. And at the very top, at 16,500 feet, there is a rainbow lagoon. Well, there's also like a portal up there and a whole bunch of other stuff, you know, like it's a very powerful place. And there's rainbow light, and I knew I had to go to the top. And when I got to the top, you know, people helped me get up there because I was one of the older people going up on the journey. And when I got up there, it's like the only thing I wanted to do was sing. And so I sang a song, you know, I just sang like a song I knew from my youth. It wasn't any special sacred song, but I just sang, you know, to the spirit of the place, to the spirit of the lagoon. I was like, oh my gosh, I love you. Like, this is so beautiful. Thank you for allowing me to be here. And it just kind of this feeling of intense gratitude. And that unlocked something for me, actually. Like, it unlocked this connection with that place. And I know that that place helps me in my work all the time, because after that I started channeling rainbow light. And I was like, in my healings, how is that happening? You know, I'm kind of surprised by that. But this is the power of that connection with a presence. It's like, I think in Western mind, we think everything's just dead and we're like the only thing alive. And that's the opposite of what I've found is true. Everything is alive and has consciousness.
So true, Carrie. And I just echo your feeling on, you had this impulse, this human impulse to elongate your breath. This is what song is. It's an embodied expression of generosity and gift. And in a way, it's true. It doesn't hardly matter what song, which song. When you come from that place of the heart, and your intention is there is no way to elongate that breath and sing with the fullness of your heart without relaxing and softening your belly, your heart. And that's the whole indigenous way of singing, from time immemorial, is to, people come to me and say, I don't have enough breath support. Well, that breath support is connected to your sense of the abundance of life on this earth that is gifted to us. And when we surrender and trust and sink into and allow ourselves to be embraced by the beloved mother, that breath force, life force, will be abundant for you. And so, yeah, I think that's just so beautiful. Women are everywhere. It's an instinct, and we can't hold back, sort of the way we are with birthing and our sacred moon cycles. We give ourselves to those moments, and beloved mother, the ancestors are moving through us, and so we are beginning to be sung through, and it's not just our voice, but it is all of the elements giving us life that allow us to sing. But we have this beautiful gift of the human mouth, able to shape syllables into song. And that is the big gift, and I call it power medicine of humanity, to be able to sing and pray. Praying voice also, the breath pattern changes, and there's this generosity of spirit, because you relax and you calm down, and everything opens and everything is there for you from that place.
Yeah, I got exposed to song as a healing agent by studying with the Power Path, which is Jose and Lena Stevens right there in Santa Fe with you. And it's powerful. This, when I first received a song as a healing from someone, I was just so amazed at the power it had to open my heart and for me to feel loved and for me to feel like someone's witnessing me and really connecting with me and really cares about me. And that's a gift I give now, and for me as a practitioner, it helps me to get out of my thinking brain that thinks it knows, what's needed right now. It opens that, it kind of quiets that down and
Mm,
helps me to be in a space of just open,
mm.
just receiving. Listen, it by singing actually helps me to listen. Is that silly? But that's what I feel.
Oh, I love it, Carrie. Yes, I mean, our voice, our song is the spirit, because the breath is the spirit. And so it's this beautiful um, balance of embodiment with the way the column of our body is made that produces sound, and the way we're able to shape our mouths into syllables, and then the way we have consciousness to move up and down and then the breath is in there, and that's that one hand connected to the spirit and one hand connected to the earth, and we are channels. We become healers, and I encourage that when you are singing, to open the wings of the voice and allow the energies to move through your hands, because then we become a channel. And again, it's our embodied and willingness to open that space, but then it's that co-creative energy and ancestral and Mother Earth energy moving through us that is doing the healing, that is providing that energy of
Yeah,
beauty.
allowing that to flow through. And I realized even in a very recent healing, it was just like a couple days ago, I got into this space where I realized, and I have realized that there were ancestors and, ascended masters or whatever you want to talk about it, coming through to do the healing. It's not me, it's the energy coming through to do the healing. But I had this awareness that, and like my ancestor was right here, like in me doing the healing. Like, and it was so trippy to just kind of stand back and go, wow, I'm aware of that, and I'm aware that this is happening. I'm aware of all these things happening at once. And here's my ancestor doing this beautiful healing And wow, this is so cool, you know, and it's just, for me, it's a really interesting, if I guess, you know, if somebody hadn't experienced that yet, it might sound a little strange, but it's an awareness I'm cultivating very rapidly. It's only been 8 years since I woke up from my earth amnesia. So there's a lot to learn in a short period of time, but we can learn a lot by working with our ancestry. And, you know, I think an unfortunate aspect, and I think where this work is a powerful way of addressing this gap that I see, is that for the Western culture, myself included, there's been a gap with our ancestors connected to the earth. Like there's been a gap in that knowing. And so now we need to reconnect to that, because we are in the time of earth keepers. Like we're in the time of becoming the wisdom keepers and the earth keepers. We're connecting back to that consciousness. So we need to bridge to some place in our ancestry that had that knowledge, that wisdom, to carry it forward, I feel. And I started noticing that because I noticed that when I work with, like I say, for the Four Winds, the Karo people, they have an unbroken lineage. They have practiced seamlessly from generation to generation. And the medicine is powerful that way. Like it's so powerful. It's transformative. Just do a group healing with them a couple days in a row and your whole world shifts on its side. You know, and coming over here to the, you know, the power path and their lineages that they've been trained in with through their Weechal, it's the same thing. It's unbroken. These people have maintained and cared for their generations. I feel like things got a little confused for the Western person such as myself, and we have to make it make sense again by reconnecting ourselves to the earth and to our ancestry that knows how to do that.
Yes, it's ancient wisdom available to us. It was prophesied by the elders that we would go through this time of forgetting. And now we are through ancestral wisdom and going back to traditions and ancestral songs and ceremonies that are still intact. It's helping us to remember our own ceremonies of our own people. And what is that going to look like? It's going to be a new tradition, really, that is birthing. And when you were speaking, I was thinking about how, right, we feel like we don't have those unbroken lineages, and so we're at a loss. And yet it's a very big opportunity to be part of the co-creators of new tradition in relationship and that alignment with the ancestors. I mean, it was a way of life, the Ainu Japanese people, to have that fire never go out, always alive in the home hearth. There was no separate temple to go to. It was held inside the home. It was inclusive in everyday life. This is called the life of ceremony. And there was a time when all women especially were doing hundreds of little ceremonies throughout a day. And so if we can begin to just one ceremony a day of going out in the morning sunrise and making a song, a prayer, just listening, then offering something back, beginning to talk directly to the sacred powers. Not that they are other than and separate from us, but how can we talk directly to you, Amma, Miniwichoni, sacred water of life, you beautiful being before me, and begin to change. You know, it's a little bit of a consciousness here of changing the way our languaging is. And that's sort of the bigger vision of the song carrier work. We're in the house of praising earth, which is it's really a village growing, and it's a village that holds men's circles in between the women's gatherings, and then specific times of the years the men and the women come together and we weave and we share what is coming through the masculine embodied self, through the feminine embodied self. And then we have these immersive experiences where community will come with us into hundreds of acres forest untouched by domestication, and be in song, dance, ritual, walking and listening to the Mother Earth. So these will go for 9 days at a time, but it's a all inclusive. And I feel just currently right now that we're really turning to the elders within our own community and asking them to step up, that we need that grounding of prayer from the elders to really create a community for the future generations. That's what's going to be one of the first steps here, or the next step that we're currently in. So yeah, we're in exciting times and very challenging, and it's only going to get a little bit grittier before the birth is complete, of the new story. So we have
There's a lot of people that are, I don't know, there's a big dialogue around the words we use, even the word shamanism, for example. So I had a recent experience where I had a group I just called Learning Shamanism, because that's, the easy title that came to me when I wanted to form a Facebook group. And it started to cause so much contention and between people arguing what it meant, that I found, okay, that word is too historical, like it's too contentious, even though I don't feel that way about it. So I actually changed, the name of the group to Practicing Earth Spirituality, because I thought, let's just agree on something. So I feel like this is about understanding the history, but then also holding a higher vision that's more inclusive. Like you're talking about speaking to the water, and you're talking about learning how to communicate to the forces of the earth. And one of the things I teach people is how to open sacred space. It's something that we've forgotten how to do. And so how do we invite the winds of the south, the west, the north, and the east to support us in our journey? How do we invite the elements to come in, and the stars and the moon and the sun above, and and just bringing in the great spirit, and saying, yes, come into my day. Yes, this is such a supportive thing. And yet, there could be, who knows, there could be some people saying, well, Carrie, why are you teaching people how to open sacred space? That's our tradition or something. I feel like we need to create a human tradition, that's just belongs to everybody. Just by the fact that you're born on the earth, you belong here, you have access direct. You don't have to go ask permission or go in between anybody. You have access direct from your own heart to communicate with the earth, and to be given a technology that allows you to do that more effectively.
Yes, this is truth. And we're all in this place, especially I feel the sisterhood of inclusivity and allowing those spaces for all people. All people belong to ceremony. All people belong to this earth. And there's trauma that needs to be worked on, and those conversations with indigenous peoples are important and to be held, like if I'm thinking of my child who's going through a healing of a trauma, I have to hold that with a lot of tenderness, as well as be a strong mama, a bold space holder for the new that is necessary for the longevity of life on this earth. So it's I'm just thinking back to some of the beginning days of the song carrier community growing, and how that knowing that truth that you're speaking about, we need to make this available to all people, and everybody should know how to call in the spirits and that kind of thing. And also, at one point I heard the message to call in the indigenous grandmothers from many traditions to guide us and sit in a council. in the middle of our community, to be the center. And we have learned a tremendous amount about how to walk with tenderness and awareness as we move along, because if we just blaze a path before, there will be, and that's part, some of the work we do, I don't advertise it, I don't put it online, because there is that room and space for that contention to come in, and I'm just not interested in energizing that. And I know where my heart is, I know how I walk the path, and that's all we can do is do the best we can. And the internet is a wonderful way to connect us in a fast way, but I've learned over the years to be thoughtful about syntax, how to speak about what we're doing, to not initially trigger people, and it's this dance, this balance dance, all things in sacred timing, sacred balance, and it will be inevitable that the new traditions and all people come to the altars and begin to speak again to the ancestors. And it's happening for those that don't have a container of spirituality, of a specific methodology of a spiritual path. It's beginning to happen, and that's undeniable. So, and that's why the song carrier work, we've had to, I work with different medicines, but I don't bring them into the song carrier circle. I've created, not me, with the collaboration of the community and all of the guides, a space of inclusivity. And so really it's a ceremony of the feminine that's allowing. And we also have indigenous Native people, First Nations, coming to the circle, and something happens, some healing begins to happen. And we allow them to speak their hearts. And some things are very hard. We're having to really just be with some of that hurt and trauma of the most recent generations. And we, of course, we know it's happened to all peoples on earth, that assimilation and that cultural, appropriation and the banning of the traditional ways all around the planet. So it's the cycle. And sometimes that contention rises like a being, and you have to face it, see it, acknowledge it, but not let it, squash the vision that is coming through the sisterhood, through the women, the womb holders of the next generation, that our main concern is that life continues.
Yeah, our main concern is that life continues, and that means we all need to get along. I mean, we all need to get along. And I think one thing that really resonates for me when I hear some of the indigenous female elders speak is they say, why aren't you, to women, why aren't you telling your men to stop? You need to speak up. So a lot of the work that I've been doing is along the lines of learning how to speak up myself, and then learning how to speak up and help other people to find their truth and speak it and hold their ground. And that itself is a very big job in the Western culture. And then to not do it by becoming masculine, like the thing you just experienced, like you don't want to create that for yourself. Like it's important for us to be expressing our feminine. We're in this feminine body. We all have masculine and feminine energies, but there's a right relationship inside a female body, and to really open to what is that, not what I've been programmed, but like what is the actual best alignment for me to express my heart.
Beautiful. I hear your truth.
Yeah.
This is very rich and important dialogue that there's relatives out there that are not alone, that they're also hearing these things and wondering how to live a life of ceremony. And that's humanity's way of gift of life is a life of ceremony, to honor all the life forms, to honor our ancestors, and to give thanks whenever we take anything from the earth, even at the store, to go in and just moment of breathing out, breathing in, and saying, thank you for this food that's going to nourish my body, and just making space and time for that. We're waking up. It's happening. It's happening. And our young ones, though, are faced with, I mean, I've heard the grandmothers speak this too, that they're fighters for life in a way, and not in a negative or dominating way, but they have to have such a well of strength to be able to walk through what they're going to be walking through. We haven't seen anything yet. The changing of the times, the changing of the society, and I pray for them almost daily in my prayers, that they have the courage and strength, and that, you know, even speaking to the ones coming in, the star children, that there are relatives here who are holding that space and praying for clean air and water and beautiful life for them, and not to be afraid, because just seeing this, a lot of people checking out, and babies not coming in, and there is that question, is it safe here? And there's a lot of work to be done still, individually and collectively, and it starts with our own personal heart and prayer, and then being courageous to share that heart and that prayer with your relatives and the earth and the beloved mother, because they are longing to hear your song. They're longing to hear your prayer. And watch what happens, that reciprocal relationship with the sacred fire, when you simply look into the face in the lineage of the fire and say, thank you, I see you, I'm going to feed you, I'm going to listen to you, thank you for guiding us, thank you for being there for us. And a lot of blessings, a lot of awakening is coming for you. So many blessings to all those relatives out there who are boldly listening and hearing the next steps on the path, and paying attention, because that's going to serve. You know, it's so funny how we're so centered sometimes on our own projects and our own things we're doing, you know, the song carrier community that's growing. But the ancestors and the grandmothers are say, you know, something that you look at and you say, oh, this is my commitment for the next 20 years of my life. That's the first 20 years of the next 250 years of your life, of the life of the generations to come. We're really looking at earth time in that way, and we have to go back to that way. Making choices, being discerning, how we walk in this earth for the next 250 years, it will impact.
You know, I want to say that today, in playing my new Oracle game called Love Mastery Game, the ancestors said that I would be working with the South, which to me is all about container and support and knowing you're safe and held. And we're working with ayahuasca, which to me is about, you know, finding the beauty within yourself and clearing away what's not beautiful, like for you, like clearing away the stuff. And the thing is to take inspired action to shift my perspective. And that just happened because what you just said to me was exactly what I needed to hear about shifting my perspective from, you know, why is it that I'm holding and doing the work that I'm doing in the world? Why is it that I do this broadcast? Why is it that I hold my butterfly circle and all of that? Why do I do that? Why? Is it just to sustain me in my lifestyle and then do something I enjoy? No, it's not. It's to catalyze a change, a ripple across the planet, so that the things that touch my heart, that they shift in, because we have the ability, when we wake up, we have the ability to influence the energy. We have the ability to influence the energy with our prayers and our love and our vision and to hold the higher vision for what's coming forward on the planet. We get to decide that as conscious co-creators working with all the forces that be, what happens. It's our choice every day to make that choice. I love that you said that. And the ancestors have really like reminded me repeatedly the importance of practice, daily practice, and making every single day a ceremony, every day, beginning with opening the directions every single day.
Haye.
Yeah.
Yairai kere, my ancestors said, thank you. Thank you for that truth. And your tears, those tears are a blessing. The ancestors and the elders always remind us, like, put those tears on the earth, give them into the waters, feed them to the community, because the grieving ceremonies are extremely important right now to allow the space for the grief to be released. And I'm thinking, Carrie, I don't know if you're connected at all to the Ireland, but there is a song tradition of the keening women that would come in the community when a loved one would pass and stand in the four directions around the body. And they would sing a mourning song. And they would weep for the community. And those tears, your tears today, are allowing the tears to come, the rivers to flow again, to not be dammed anymore. And from that becomes the great healing and the great turning and the new story revived, and those little seedlings, nourishment for that. And I honor your tears so much. I'm thinking right now of my elder Noreen in Ireland, who holds these ancient songs, and it's helping so many women to remember. And if there's time, I might like to just sing this ancient keening song. It's called An Cuina, and the melody is time before time. According to Noreen, it's the oldest melody she's found in her journey of searching for the ancestral songs. And it's for the death. It is for the grieving, which is what we have to go through before the new life can really birth. So
Yes, I would love for you to sing that song.
And as I sang that song, Carrie, this is how it works. We are so connected to all of the sacred powers of the universe. There was little droplets of rain, and then when I finished that song, you see the sounding after the sound is where the medicine is, and that rain began to come down. I hear it all on the top of this mud round sanctuary I'm in. It's the rain is responding to the song. We are so more connected than we ever know. and guided and surrounded by the ancient ones.
I really felt that through my whole chest, and I felt the grief coming out for how I've been feeling in my family. And that's the truth.
Mm. Yes, it is. I see you, I hear you, and may we all experience that truth and allow and let the divine beloved mother embrace you and relax into that knowing that you are being held. You are not alone walking this path. And that feminine life force beauty will wash you clean, will prepare you for these changing times. I'm just so grateful. Thank you so much, Carrie, for this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so blessed to have received you today and to share your gifts and your message. And I will be putting into the show notes the ways that people can connect with you who are called. And of course, I am so called to this path. And as I told Gabriella, we'll be definitely engaging with this. It's so important to lift our hearts in song. So thank you once again, Madi, for your gift. And I hope to see you in person and give you a really big hug. So much love.
Thank you. Let's meet up when you come to Santa Fe. Many blessings on all that you are hearing and doing and being at this time, and know that there's a whole lineage of ancestors surrounding you, the grandmothers walking with you, and I wish you just so much beauty on your path, Carrie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madi. And thank you, everybody out there in the audience. Thank you for staying with us. And I hope that that unburdened your heart as well. We love you. We see you. We know this is sometimes a little tough, and we're here for you. So like and share out the episode to anybody you feel could benefit. And I love you very much. Here's some kisses. We'll see you next time on Soul Nectar Show. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.